discuss. Okay.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fantasy NBA Tonight. I'm your host Santino. Uh, I'm joined by the great Doug. How you doing, Doug?
Doing good, Santino. Hope everything's safe out there for you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. And I'm joined by my man Will. How's everything going out there, Will?
Everything's amazing. Everybody's being safe. I'm ready for this draft. Let's get it.
Awesome. And before we start, I don't know if our viewers are new or not, or familiar with Doug, myself, or Will, but Doug's actually a first responder. I just want to let everybody know. Thank you for everything you're doing out there, Doug.
Welcome.
Pleasure. Pleasure's all mine right now. And Will's actually works for the UPS postal service, so he's USPS. My bad.
There
So
you
thank you,
go.
Will. Thank you, both of you guys. Definitely essential workers out there, and I just want to give a little clap for both of you for doing
Well,
all.
appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're doing
Thank you, Santino.
No problem. Um, yeah, so let's get into it. It looks like we're on the docket for the 2017 NBA redraft.
Mhm.
Doug, I know you wanted to go first. I'm going to take my Lakers at 2, and Will, you're going to go in the 3 hole at the Celtics. I figure we'll go 1, 2, 3, then back to not a snake draft, but Doug, you can get the 4th pick as well.
Okay.
So we'll kick it off. The first pick in the draft was actually, as we all know, Markel Fultz. He didn't play
Right.
that year.
Um,
I wonder if Doug's still going to take him first. Let's see.
no, I do think that motorcycle accident withdrawn, he would have been really good that first year into the league. But there's some rumors out there that he got into a motorcycle accident, messed up his shoulder, and that's what really hurt him in that first year, his rookie season. And I tend to think that is the case. But no, here I am not taking Markel Fultz number 1. Philly had the first pick in the draft. I'm actually going to go with someone who played here at University of Louisville, close to me, and that's Donovan Mitchell, first pick in the 2017
Ooh,
draft.
okay.
All
All right.
right.
That sounds like a little homer pick, but I mean,
In a way,
he's
it kind of is,
guy.
but at the same time, I mean, he's definitely one of I think 4 franchise players in this draft. His PER right now is at 19.1 for his 19 to 20 season. Career wise, his PER is 17.5. So he's not the highest, but I do think that he plays off the ball well. I really think that that's what Philly should have done. They had Ben Simmons there at the 1 spot. That's something that wasn't going to change. So I think that a good number 2 guard would have been Donovan Mitchell, and he would have played really well off of Ben Simmons there.
Yeah, that actually it fits perfect. Him or Tatum fit perfectly with
Right.
Simmons and Embiid. And it's just funny that 3 years ago, I wish they're hoping that they saw this, that they had 2 guys playing point guard who couldn't shoot and couldn't really play with each other, and Fultz and Simmons,
Hmm.
even though they didn't get to really play with each other, but I don't think it would have
Right.
worked anyway. But yeah, I forgot to mention before we even jump right into it. There's a in this draft class, it's kind of deep. It was deeper than I assumed.
Very deep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's a lot of undrafted guys. I'll touch before we leave. Undrafted guys that
Right.
have played in the NBA, and 56 of the 60 guys that actually got drafted have seen NBA court action. It's
Hmm.
only been 3 years, but that's pretty impressive. And there's been 3 All-Stars, all of them selected this year.
Hmm.
Mitchell is one of them. Bam Adebayo is number 2, and Jason Tatum, all first-time All-Stars this year. And you mentioned the win shares. The 3 highest win shares are actually Bam at 19.2, Jared
Hmm.
Allen, which surprised me when I was looking at it, at 19 flat, and then Jason Tatum in third at 18.3.
Hmm.
But besides that, we'll get it back into it. It looks like I'm on the clock with the Lakers. So the Lakers took Lonzo Ball. I was very tempted. I don't know if you guys caught last week's where I took first overall pick with Cleveland, and I kept Wiggins because of the whole Kevin Love trade and everything, and it made sense to take him. Uh, in that draft, there was really only two. There's only 2 All-Stars in Jokic and Embiid, but none of them would have played there and got would have been the player. None of them were the player that they were when the Cavs won the championship. So I stuck with Wiggins. This I was
True.
very tempted to stay with Ball. I honestly think
Really?
is a top 5 player in this draft. I think
Wait. Alonzo Ball is the top 5 player in this draft.
I'll get back to it, but I don't think we've seen anywhere near his potential yet. I think he has
Hmm.
loads of it. He was playing the best ball of his career the last month and a half when he was healthy. You can look it up, but I'm going to pass on him since Donovan Mitchell was taken. I think it would be a no-brainer not to take Jason Tatum right here.
Yeah.
Him in the Lakers.
Agreed.
The only difference is I don't know if they'd still get Anthony Davis down the line because you're not going to give up Tatum. But same thing.
True.
Tatum's probably the no-brainer here. I almost if Mitchell was there, I may have swayed to Lonzo Ball, but that would have been close to me.
Santino, come on. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, Lonzo Ball's a lot. He's improved a lot every year, every single year. He's only 22 years old. I think the best is yet to come, and I think him and Zion are going to be a formidable duo for
Absolutely.
a while.
There's no Laker bias there, huh? Because Lonzo was on your team. Okay.
I liked Lonzo when he was healthy. When he was healthy in the lineup, he's a very good player. As long as his dad hasn't really made any waves this year, I think that's no coincidence. It's been the best year of his career.
True.
Right. I think that, it's no secret, as you guys know on this podcast, I'm a fan of the Ball Boys. I do continue to say that LaMelo Ball is going to be better than Lonzo, and Lonzo's going to have a great career. He really is. I agree with Santino that we haven't seen Lonzo at his best yet. I disagree that he's a top 5, but he's not very far, in my opinion, outside of the top 5. Will, I'm not sure where you have him going, but that's my thoughts on Lonzo. He is a game-changing player for a team. He really is. That transition offense is just phenomenal. He's got the court vision. He's got the ability. I'm glad that the Pelicans worked on his shot, but Santino's right. We have not seen his best ball yet.
In this draft, I got him ranked 7th or 8th. You can interchange 7th or 8th, but yeah, we'll see how the top 5 shake out in this draft, and we'll see if he should be in there.
All right, so what do you got number 3?
Well, the Celtics, yeah, I think you have to go with the big guy, Bam Adebayo. I mean, he's having an amazing year this year. He's finally coming into his own. It was a struggle between him and John Collins because I like John Collins' offensive game a lot more. But Bam is just a presence, and he's a game changer, averaging 16 and 11 this year and 5 assists. So, I mean, I think that would have been great, especially for Boston. They haven't really had a big man in a while.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Yeah, he would have fit perfectly on this year's Celtic team.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Doug, you're back on the clock with the Celtics. I think it makes sense that the first 3 picks were the 3 All-Stars from this year and 3 of the 4 highest win shares. So
yeah,
no arguments on that pick. No arguments.
No, not at all. I think it's a great pick. He's a Kentucky boy, so he's got my vote right there.
There's a lot of bias there. Kentucky and
Louisville. I got no bias, guys. Y'all can trust me.
Protein, so you can trust me too. No, I agree with Will. I think that for me, I chose John Collins over Bam, and I'm going to pick him at the 4th spot here for Phoenix. John Collins, I think, is a good choice there. John Collins, his PER for his career is 21. This year, he's actually a little bit better at 23.5. If you remember, he was injured this year a little bit too. So whenever he came out the gate, he came out really strong. John Collins has a great future ahead of him. Bam Adebayo is a good pick. John Collins, I'm right there with Will. Those 2 are kind of hand in hand. John Collins, a little bit to where is a good player on a bad team. Atlanta really hasn't had the team that they hope to have. Now with Trae Young there, I think John Collins and Trae Young, again, is going to be a lot like the Lonzo and Zion pairing. Those 2 are going to be together playing well off each other for years to come. So John Collins is my pick there at 4.
Solid pick. I probably would have went with Ball there or a point guard. I mean, just because they haven't really had their point guard since.
That is true.
So,
but I mean, there's other point guards out there, Santino.
Yeah, him or Fox. But now that I'm on the clock with the Kings, it's pretty much to me the 2 people that I just mentioned. I would either stay De'Aaron Fox or Lonzo Ball. I honestly think this is the season where the offseason where they traded DeMarcus Cousins and they got him off the team. I don't know why he was the best player on their team, but I think him and Lonzo Ball pairing would have made a tremendous 1-2 with Buddy Hield out there, still improving his shot. I'm going to go Lonzo Ball here. Just a hair over De'Aaron Fox, but I think his game would have transitioned better as a facilitator with Cousins wasn't there, but with a Buddy Hield there. I know they had Willie Cauley-Stein. He can't really get his own shot, and you have someone who can get him shots. I think he would have looked a lot better.
Okay.
I think Ball is really good.
So let me ask you this. Who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done, De'Aaron Fox or Lonzo Ball?
Depending on where De'Aaron Fox goes. If he stays in Sacramento, I think it's Lonzo Ball because he's just going to win a lot more games. Anybody in Sacramento, just the next time they win, I might not be here.
But win shares aside, the player themselves and what their abilities are. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you some stats. Lonzo averaged 12 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists this year. De'Aaron, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists.
2 rebounds. He's averaging about 7 rebounds. I think he's closer to 12, 7, and 7.
Okay, well, I saw 2, but okay, still. De'Aaron's numbers are better all around the board.
I'll take Lonzo for the long haul.
But Will, you gotta look at it too, though. Lonzo's his first year with a new team. That's a big change moving from the other side of the country. New team there. Thought they were gonna have Zion when they first kicked it off, and they didn't. So again, going back to what Santino said, Lonzo has not had his best year yet. To be honest with you, I think had he stayed in LA, his numbers would have beaten De'Aaron Fox this year.
I just think it's a shooter's league now, and Lonzo is just not really that good of a shooter or scorer. So, like, I want a point guard that can score and facilitate, not just facilitate. The Rajon Rondos of the NBA are kind of fading away, you know.
I don't think Fox is a good shooter either.
Well, he's a scorer though. He gets 20 a game, so he gets to the basket, you know. Yeah.
I'll throw one stat out there. Value over replacement player. The top Lonzo Ball is the number 6 ranked guy in this class behind Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, obviously those 3. Jared Allen is number 4. Though he's young, I really like him. He just can't play guard anybody. John Collins is 5. Lonzo Ball is 6. De'Aaron Fox is all the way at 9. That's just through their first.
No. That just means he's got a better backup. I don't like Lonzo Ball, guys. Okay, sorry.
That's obvious. All right, moving on. Who's up now?
Will's on the clock. Magic at 6.
Okay.
Okay, this is a tough decision too. But with the ample amount of point guards available, you know, coming up out of college every year, you have to go with the freak athlete and Jonathan Isaac. And this is where he was drafted anyway. So I have to put him back with the Orlando Magic because you just don't find Jonathan Isaacs out there every day. And he truly is coming into his own this year. Athletic freak, rebounds, steals, you know. As long as he stays healthy, you know, I think he's going to be somebody. I think he's going to be an all-star for years to come. And I think they can find another point guard, you know, in the future. But you can't find another Jonathan Isaac that easily.
They did find another point guard in the future by the name of Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz, right?
Wow.
Santino, I saw you making faces. What do you think?
No, I didn't make a negative face. I was just
okay.
I sure did.
Yeah, Doug, man.
I haven't seen what everybody's spouting about on Jonathan Isaac. He's been a slow starter, kind of like Definitely. Brandon Ingram, who starts slow in the season and eventually picks it up around the new year. Jonathan Isaac in his career started slow. He's Definitely. Been injured. He hasn't stood. You know, he had the opportunities to stand up and do something great when other players were out. He didn't do it. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, his best ball is yet to come, maybe again, but I haven't seen it. I'm not a John Isaac fan. I'll let somebody else take him off the board.
I like John Isaac, but 2 things. Will was just touting offense, and then he went and picked Jonathan Isaac. I want someone who could score, and then he picked Jonathan Isaac. And 2, I think he's a lot better in fantasy than he is in reality. And that's not to say he's not bad, but he's a borderline first-round pick for his stocks, and he could hit threes in fantasy, and that's a stud, kind of like a Josh Smith or a Sean Marion. But if I'm drafting in the NBA, I think he's not as good as his real-life value is not as good as his fantasy game.
He is really young too, though. He might be 21. Yeah. Yes, I mean,
everybody in this class is pretty
true. Yeah. But
I do want to say shout out to Lyle. He said, cheers, guys. So I'll cheers him back here.
I can't
Make sure
comment
you guys,
for some reason. So.
Yeah, I can't either. Make sure you guys leave some comments if you're watching this live. Make sure you guys are asking questions, leaving us comments. Cheers to Lyle for the first comment.
Let us know who's drafting best. We all know who it is, but okay, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, is it my pick?
Yeah, Doug's on the clock.
I think
with
so.
The Wolves.
All right, so I've got my. I draft a little different than you guys, as we know. Last time the three of us drafted, I built a team, and I'm kind of doing that again here. It just happens to be. I'm going to take De'Aaron Fox with this pick.
Have to, yep.
Yeah, I really think that Chicago has been trying to find their point guard of the future. They really haven't found that one piece. They've been juggling back and forth Chris Dunn, and they tried a couple other players there. But I really think that De'Aaron Fox, he is by far, with John Wall out, the quickest point guard in the league. I don't think it's any question. His transition game is quick. He's fast. He likes to drive. He can take the contact and finish. He's got that killer wildcat mentality coming from Kentucky. So, again, it just happens to be another Kentucky player. I'm going to take De'Aaron Fox from my point guard position here in this draft.
There's no bias to Doug's picks at all. Just so
at all.
There's zero bias in there.
He had to take Fox on that one, though. So
yeah,
that's all right.
I mean, I'm surprised he dropped to me, so I'm really happy to take him.
I had him top 5.
I had him 5th. I had him 5th. So
yeah, De'Aaron Fox is easily the best player on the board that was left. For now, it looks like I'm on the clock. Number 8, the New York Knicks. They had Derrick Rose the year before. What was left of Derrick Rose? They had Brandon Jennings on the team. What was left of Brandon Jennings? They had Joakim Noah. What was left of Joakim Noah? It's kind of a theme with this Knicks team.
Yeah.
But all of them were gone the year after that. I think if the Knicks had to redo it, even knowing what Fultz had to do and miss that first year, I think you're just going to take the guy who was the number 1 pick in this draft. Huge upside, still has that huge upside, and just a guy that you can hopefully bank on the future, even if he's not. Even if his shot is gone, he's still a freak of a talent. And that's who I would take if I was the Knicks. I kind of dropped off a little bit here. Markelle Fultz.
Fultz, okay. Yeah, like I said, when we first started this, motorcycle accident aside, I think he would have had a better year. Now he is coming back into his game now that he's getting healthier.
You don't know. Maybe if he was on a team, I'm not saying the Knicks are that front office or that franchise is any what better than the Sixers, but maybe they don't keep him in the G League and fix his shot or whatever they did for 2 years. Maybe he starts right off and just gets the growing pains out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, in college he was amazing. So I hope he can find that, and turn it back into the NBA. It was good to see him having such a good year this year. So I can't argue too much with that.
Like actual cup of tea, basically, and I think he played really well.
Yeah.
So it looks like.
So the 9th pick, Dallas had that pick.
Yep.
They drafted Dennis Smith Jr. So this is a tough one. I'm gonna go between. I'm just gonna go ahead and go with my guy Lauri Markkanen. I just think he's a really talented offensive player. It's not too many big men as talented as him. It's not really working out like we expected for the Bulls, but he's shown the potential. He's shown that he can do it. It's just got to be consistent. It's just got to be no injuries. I don't know if he needs a better team around him, but I think of him as not – he won't be able to be as good as Porzingis, but he's like a poor man's Porzingis, So I just think he needs a couple more years of coaching up, and I think he can, be worthy of that spot.
You think that the Knicks will trade for Markkanen? You think they'd want to do that trade still?
You never know with the Knicks.
The Knicks like to get ripped off, so I don't know. They may
right.
Say, he's better. I don't want
him. Right.
So, Doug, the 10th pick is the Kings. Who it looks like the Kings' 2nd pick of the draft.
Was it Portland that traded it for that pick then?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at the PERS for each one of these players, the player efficiency rating. I'm very tempted to take the highest player with a player efficiency rating, but in fact, I'm going to go one down. I'm going to take the second last available player with that, and that's going to be Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen really has the opportunity to do something great. I think that if DeAndre Jordan wouldn't be in Brooklyn right now, I think we would have seen more from Jared Allen this year. I think they're trying to get DeAndre Jordan involved and active before KD comes back. But Jared Allen has shown some great promise for a young guy. He's got the blocks. He's got the rebounds. It is hard for him to guard some people at times. His footwork for defense isn't the best, but he's got some great potential. He doesn't have the highest player efficiency rating of those players that we have available right now, but he has the second highest. And I'm going to go ahead and take him with this pick here, number 10.
Yeah,
he's a great defensive player.
He's fourth in the league in this draft class in value above replacement, as I mentioned before. And I think he would fit really well on that team. They just traded Cousins. They had Willie Cauley-Stein, and we gave them Lonzo Ball. And Lonzo Ball get that guy shots.
Yes, absolutely.
And like he's got a highlight reel of block dunks he's done. Like he's an amazing shot blocker.
Yes, absolutely.
I think he does get roasted on defense a lot, but he can block shots.
Yeah,
a lot of times they'll get by him, but he still blocks it from behind too. So
yeah, I think he's just really underrated. I think we're going to see some great things from him in the coming years for him for sure.
Yeah, I like him. So it looks like I'm on the clock with Will. I'm on the clock with your Hornets.
Took my Hornet. Don't mess this up.
Oh, he will.
I can't do worse than what they've done, right?
Yeah, you can't do worse than Lonzo Ball with that pick you did.
I got my Hornet shirt on.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. So the Hornets right here, they took everybody's favorite Malik Monk. It was a great pick.
Kentucky player.
Another Kentucky player.
Imagine that.
Dividends for them so far. So kudos. But this is the year they had Dwight Howard, kind of. They still had Cody Zeller. They didn't really have much. They had Christian Wood the year before, right before the draft, but they let him go. If I'm the Hornets, I'm looking for a big man. I would have preferred Jared Allen, but Doug snagged him right there. They've needed a big man for what seems like forever. Anybody that could actually play basketball that's not named Bismack Biyombo or Cody Zeller.
You're going to take my guy, aren't you?
Thomas Bryant.
Oh, there we go.
You nailed it.
Kemba and Bryant. I know it took Bryant a few years to kind of get into his own and still working on it.
He started with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's easily the best big man.
He's got the higher player efficiency rating that's available for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they need anybody that – I'm curious who they get for a big man in free agency if anybody wants to come.
Charlotte's not a bad town. I mean, I used to live near there. It's a great town, great place to be. They love their team. It's just their owner being Michael Jordan. That's kind of hard to live up to.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, but and Mitch Kupchak being their general manager now, so we'll see what.
Great guy.
Yeah.
A lot of championships.
Yeah.
Not for Will though, but
thanks, Santino.
Yeah. When's the last time you won a championship? Oh, never mind.
I actually saw Thomas Bryant playing a G League game against Greensboro Swarm. So yeah, I mean he was just different than everybody. This was the year before he came to the league. Finally starting getting minutes for the Wizards. And he just had a different level of intensity out there. Nobody was talking. He was talking junk to everybody. I was like, keep an eye out on him. And
he's a big man with that three ball in his arsenal too.
Dude.
So
yeah.
He's a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
We did beat him though, but yeah, he did good.
You know who else? It wasn't in this draft, but is also on the Wizards. Is Maurice Wagner from the Wizards there. He is somebody to watch as well.
Yeah, the Lakers had him too.
Yes, I know. And whenever Bryant went down, there was a great opportunity for Wagner to come in and do great things, but he got injured right then.
They have too many big guys.
2 games in, I believe he got injured.
Yeah, and that was sad to see because he's got some great game too, and the two of them are great 1-2 punch if they can actually stay healthy.
Yeah.
They complement each other pretty well.
Yes.
So
yep. All right.
Back to the big board, it looks like, Will, you're on with the Pistons.
With the Pistons, I have to take a wild card here. His talent is Santino loves, I'm sure. It's calling my name. I got to go with Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
I think he has the best offensive talent left on the board. He's got good size, good potential. I mean, that's what you just got to go with. I mean, the year before this year, I mean, he was balling, And then, this year when Anthony Davis came in, he's taking a smaller role. But definitely on Detroit, I think he would play more like he did when he was scoring 20-plus points a game because they're not that talented of a team, haven't been for a long time.
Team too.
There you go. And I think he would have fit well in Detroit, put up some good numbers.
I think that's a good choice. I think it's a good pick for Detroit. Like I said, hometown team for him. He's from that area. I think he would have played hard. I think that he is kind of getting overshadowed right now by the two big guys. And
Definitely.
I think he's trying to find his spot. He's trying to, is he coming off as a six man? Is he just there to relieve Anthony Davis? When is he playing? Who's he playing with? And the best, he just needs to find his spot and stop with all the fashion sense.
I know, right?
Oh man, that guy, he has some wild outfits trying to make a name for himself. He's making the wrong name, in my opinion.
Blonde hair.
Yeah, I'm a huge Kuzma fan. I really am. On the court, he's a great player. Works hard. He's got that killer instinct, but he just needs to get his full game put together to find out where he fits in.
I don't know where he fits in with AD and LeBron. AD is at his best when I think he's at his best when he's a center, but he doesn't like to play center. He likes to not get beat up so much, so he wants to play power forward. And LeBron's at his best when he's point forward. So I mean, Kuzma's at his best when he's playing small ball power forward, and it's very hard to get all three of them on the court at the same time and be productive. Right. I like him, but I just don't know where he fits exactly with them. Yeah. I think
it's hard to play with LeBron. Like when Chris Bosh went down and played with him, his numbers dropped tremendously. Kevin Love's numbers dropped tremendously. So I think it's not based on Kuzma's talent. I just think it's hard to play with LeBron too, for some people.
Well, Alex Caruso has no problem playing with LeBron. I'll tell you that right now. Alex Caruso plays off LeBron very, very well.
Yeah, they got the headband game going.
There you go. Yeah, headband Caruso is a different beast. That's for sure. It's like Hoodie Mello,
I love Hoodie Mello. That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So who's up?
13th pick in the draft, Utah.
Okay.
I think it was the Nuggets.
I think they traded it.
They traded it.
Yeah.
We'll trade it. Or
okay.
No, we'll keep it the Jazz.
This is where Donovan Mitchell was drafted.
Yeah, and that's where that was way too low, as we found out as he went first in our draft here for us. So
right.
Kuzma's gone. I think at this point I'm going to take a swing at another championship player, and a championship because he won an NCAA title, and that's going to be Josh Hart.
Oh, I mean, say Josh Hart.
Yeah, Josh Hart is he's a little bulldog. I think he's got that winning mentality. He won. He knows what it's like to win a championship, what it takes in the NCAA. He's been 4 years in college. He came into the league. He was very seasoned already. I just think he needed to find his spot, and I think he found it. I think he found it in New Orleans. I think him coming in off the bench or starting in that two guard spot or small forward spot, I think he's going to do great. Down there with some people he already knows, like Brandon Ingram and Lonzo. He's already familiar with them. So I think he's kind of becoming kind of a veteran mentor in a way, even though he's newer in the league for that team especially. So I like Josh Hart. I think he's got a lot of potential. He just needed to find his right spot, and I think he found it. Hopefully he stays with the Pelicans long term.
I'm high on Josh Hart.
Yeah.
I think he's one of, if not the best rebounding guard in the league. This guy is really awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that pick. And right when you said a winner, I had a feeling he was going Josh Hart. Yeah. And I want to throw out another winner. Shout out to Villanova since we're talking about him. Chris Jenkins is in this draft. He didn't actually get drafted and he never played in the NBA, but infamous in Nova history with that shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like Josh Hart. That's a good pick. I mean, in real life, that's a huge drop off from Donovan Mitchell to Josh Hart. But in a vacuum, Josh Hart is a good player. And he was playing really well this year in New Orleans before their team got healthy, and then he got hurt, then he came back, and it just wasn't enough minutes for him to produce like he was early in the season.
Let me ask you guys a question on this when it comes to New Orleans. Where do you think that Drew Holiday's fit there? Do you think he's going to be there long term? Do you think they're going to move on for him and start younger? What do you think?
That's interesting. I think he should stay. I think he's a really good fit on that team. He's one of the best defensive guards in the league. He's transitioned from a point guard early in his career to now he's a really good 2-guard. I like him. I mean, when Zion starts getting up to speed even more, he can be the number 2 option or even number 3 option on that team because Brandon Ingram's controlling it. But he's also their biggest trade piece, and if they're going to sign Brandon Ingram to a long-term contract and probably Lonzo Ball to a long-term contract, they might not have enough room for Drew Holiday, which is sad, but they're definitely going to get a big haul from him if they have to get rid of him.
Do you think Brandon Ingram will stay before Drew Holiday will? Like, do you think they'll keep Brandon Ingram first?
Because of age, probably.
Yeah. Holiday's already signed to a contract. Brandon Ingram is going to be an unrestricted this year. So they can match whatever. I see them matching. But, yeah.
I think Lonzo might be out of there.
Really?
I don't know. Him and Zoe are having way too much fun together.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I call them both. They're both Zoe.
Right.
Z and Zoe.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So who's up? Oh, the Miami Heat at number 14. So before this year, before the Goran Dragic came and all this, or did they have Dragic? I think they might have had Dragic.
They had Dragic. They already had traded from Phoenix. Yeah, he was injured though, or he was wasn't playing well when he first got to Miami. That's for sure.
Yeah, they had. They had Dragic, Whiteside when he was getting minutes. Justice Winslow, Tyler Johnson was pretty solid over there. Who else did they? Deion Waiters when he wanted to play basketball. Josh Richardson.
So I got this pick, right? Miami?
Oh, no, that's me.
That's you? Okay.
You just picked, Doug. Come on now.
I want to pick everybody.
I know, right? Me too.
I think they should just – to me, I would go back and get another point guard, maybe play Dragic at the 2. I like Derek White here. I think he's just a really good ball player, a little bulldog. He's not great at anything, but he's not bad at anything either. I think he's a very, very good role player on a team that could win. I would throw Derek White here. It's pretty. There's a few people I'd look at like OG, Derek.
Don't
White.
give it all away now.
No,
I'll take Derek.
No, stick with your pick.
I'm putting them on their teams.
Okay, all right.
What you gonna do with Dragic?
Play him at the 2, playing them together. I mean, when Dragic was playing his best ball, he was paired up. Him and Bledsoe were playing right next to each other. That's when the last
Phoenix
time the Suns almost made the playoffs. But when they won almost 50 games, but that's when he was really good. When him and Bledsoe were playing together and they were playing off the ball, on the ball. I think Dragic and Derek White could both play that. Derek White's been playing shooting guard next to Murray as well.
Right.
I think they could switch off.
It would be good to see Derek White, in control of a team. We just seen him have bits and pieces here and there, and he's produced. So, knowing he's a starting guy, I would love to see that and see how his potential with that.
Last year, he showed it when Murray didn't play. He started off slow, but when he got in his groove,
that is true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's on me.
Yep.
Who do you take for the
Unless you want me to pick again.
Sacramento had this pick. I think right now I'm just going to have to go with the guy that is coming into his own this year, and he's averaging 16 points a game, small other stats, but Dylan Brooks, he's just a good, solid guy you would want to have on your team. Everyone can't be a star, but he fills the roles really well, offense, defense. I think you got to go with Dylan Brooks right here.
Wow.
What, Doug? What?
Wow. Just interesting. I think that Dylan – honestly, though, I do. I think that Dylan Brooks, he would be showing a better possibility if he was in a better situation. That's kind of one of those situations where he needs a better situation. When some of those guys were hurt at Memphis, you're right, he came into his own. He was doing really well. I think he needs to, get out of Memphis or have somebody else leave to open up a spot for him, like Kyle Anderson. That'd be great if he can slow-mo can move on.
Yeah.
But Dylan Brooks is okay. He was just down the list a little further from in that pick. So that's good.
I think he's the definition of average.
He's above average.
He's got 11.1 player efficiency rating right now.
He's a good team player.
Pretty low compared to what's available.
Good team player.
Everybody needs role players, right? That's how you win championships is role players.
Average.
Yeah.
So, Doug, you're on the clock with
all right.
The Chicago.
So, yeah. So I'm looking at a player here who has, I believe, bounced around the league a little bit. He was with Denver, drafted him initially, and that's Monte Morris.
Whoa!
5. Yeah. See?
Whoa!
So we surprise each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monte Morris has a 5.8 player efficiency rating. He's done really well. He again, it's one of those things where right now he's coming into an opportunity where he's got a good position. Coming in from Iowa State, showed really good promise coming in from them. I think he's got a good career ahead of him. I don't think that we've seen him in the opportunity that he needs and the minutes that he needs. He's looking at 3.6 assists, 2.1 rebounds, and 9.4 points. He's played every game that he has the opportunity to play unless he's been hurt. He's got a decent free throw percentage. He just needs more time on the court. I think we got more time on the court for him. Just like Dylan Brooks, we're going to see a better player. But right now, he's got the player efficiency rating and the skill sets I think that would go at this position.
How many points a game did you say he had?
Under 10.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's because he's
Under
playing
10.
behind Jamal Murray, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see it with him.
It's a position, it's an opportunity thing, like I said, you got to have the right opportunity.
When Jamal Murray was out, he'd have a couple of good games, but then he'd have some games he disappeared. So I don't know.
Okay. So if we're looking at comparing that, Dylan Brooks, I will say, does have 15.7 points. I'll give you that. His rebounds are a lot lower, and he's got 1.7 assists that he's averaging right now. So
he also plays like 30.
I just like Monte Morris. What can I say? Exactly.
What do you think about Monte Morris, Santino?
I like him. I think I had him pretty much in the. I think I had him the 17th best player on the board. One ahead of Dylan Brooks, 17, 18.
I have him at 24.
Wow.
It's
right.
Probably that Charlotte Hornets mentality. Lower ranking guys are pretty good.
I guess so.
So who's I'm up.
You're up.
Number 17 pick with the Bucks. So it looks like a guy here I had just outside the top 10. He slid a little bit. We look at the Bucks. This would have been the 2016, 2017 season. They got Eric Bledsoe the next offseason. They had Malcolm Brogdon. He played the point guard a lot and shooting guard. They have Chris Middleton, Giannis, Greg Monroe's corpse. I mean, right here, I'm going to take the best guard left on the board. And I think, like I said with Lonzo, this guy's best yet to come. I think he's going to have a really good year next year, especially in fantasy, because there's nobody else on that team.
You're going to be stumped here.
Luke Kennard is
there we go.
Okay. Right here. I think he'd fit well with a Giannis and a Chris Middleton and a Malcolm Brogdon. Two of those three guys are snipers, and one's just a player I've never seen physically before, because Giannis is that's it. I don't know. Giannis is just a freak. That's why he's called it. But I think Luke Kennard would fit perfect with them. I had him ranked as the 11th guy. I even picked people. Who did I pick over him? Derek White over him. But I think Luke Kennard's a lot better than he's shown so far.
Yeah, it's unfortunate he got hurt this year, because he was having a really good year this year, and I think he'll build upon that next year.
Right. Yeah, I had him right at that position. Like I said, the previous pick, it was between Monte Morris and Luke Kennard. I think that Monte Morris is more versatile and healthier. Luke Kennard, he has shown some injury, and it kind of scares me, honestly, this early into someone's career in the NBA having injuries like that. You're supposed to be young, supposed to be nimble, and some of these injuries are lingering. So
yeah, those knees are scary.
yeah,
But to me, if someone, especially in fantasy drafts next year, you're going to get this guy really late. And if there's one random late round pick that could possibly score 18 plus points a game,
it's definitely him.
he's the guy I'm taking a flyer on, because who's there? Blake Griffin, whatever's left of him health wise, Christian Wood, if he wants to resign, and then take those two guys out. There might not be anybody but Luke Kennard, and he might just walk his
Derrick
way
Rose.
to 18 points per game. Again, another guy with extensive injuries, but
Yes.
they might trade him this offseason if they can get something for him.
You think Blake Griffin's going anywhere? You think they're going to try and trade him?
I think
Nobody's taking that contract.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to take him, but I think they're going to try.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm surprised that
team that
Drummond left, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
No,
surprised.
scratch that. I'm not surprised Drummond got traded. I'm surprised that he went to Cleveland. That's what I'm surprised about.
And they didn't get anything for him either.
I'm surprised they got a bag of peanuts.
I think,
Brandon Knight.
yeah, and a pack of chewing gum. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was probably what's the gum that says, "Mind if I pay you in gum?" I think they showed it to the Cavs front office. And they're like, "Yeah, you know what?
I'll take that.
I do mind. I really like it.
All right, with the 18th pick, the Pacers had this pick. This is on me, right? It's been long enough. My guy Malik Monk has to come off the board at this point. He's just too talented as an offensive player, and I think he's just like a tweener. He's a little undersized for the NBA. I wish he would learn to play point guard, and I think he could be like Monte Ellis type. But for his position, it's like what?
Don't have the handles for that.
Yeah, he's got to build upon that. But his scoring is ridiculous. You saw it in Kentucky, Doug. He was putting up 40 points every now and then in Kentucky. So I think if he's on the right team and they let him loose, he could be a great scorer in the NBA. Charlotte, for some reason, did not want to let him loose. So Indiana, maybe.
I know why they didn't want to let him loose.
Efficiency.
He's not that good.
Come on, Santino.
Oh, man.
I like the Monte Ellis comparison, but another guy who every time I say not the greatest, I use a Monte Ellis. That guy can score, but he never really won any basketball games. He's the prototypical get you 20 points, but your team loses by 15.
Hey, he was on the We Believe Warriors, wasn't he?
No, they traded him, and that's when they traded him for an injured Bogut, and that's when the whole franchise.
And that's when
the Warriors got
well,
good again.
I like Monte Ellis.
So,
man,
Doug, it looks
all
like
right. So Malik Monk's
the
going.
Hawks.
Hold on. Doug's got something to say about Malik Monk. Go ahead.
No, I like Malik Monk. I think he is a two guard through and through. He needs to be that catch and shoot, drive, kick to me whenever the shot clock's low. He just needs to have better efficiency.
Yeah.
He does. I agree. Like you said, he's a little small for the shooting guard position. He certainly ain't going to be able to play the three. He needs better handles to play the point. I think Cal actually gave him the point for a little bit at Kentucky just to fill in, and it didn't work out well. So two guard is it. And
I do want to ask one thing. If he played at, say, Georgia Tech, would you still like him, or is it just the KY bias there? Again,
no, I like him. I think he is a killer. Yeah, he's a killer. He's a killer. He wants to have that shining moment where he is the guy, the go-to guy, and he wants to score. He wants to be that game-winning shot, but he just needs to get a little better, and he needs to get a little more size. If he can't get taller, which is hard to do.
At the end of second half of this season, he was becoming a fantasy darling until he got suspended for God knows what. So you remember that, Santino? He was a hot pickup at the end of this year.
I think we know what, but
I know, right?
Yeah, he was a hot pickup. I got to give it to you. He was starting to find a groove and get into a scoring groove, and he was dropping buckets. It was like a week or two, but he was dropping them.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I really haven't gone this far in the draft to see and who I would pick at this pick. I didn't expect to get past 15, but I'm looking at
Let's
some
go.
names
Let's
here
go.
that were drafted. I know, I'm looking. I'm looking at some names that were drafted, and it looks like I think the best player on the board that I would probably select. That's a hard one.
Do you want some help?
Phone. Oh, Will's asking if you would like to phone a friend.
Would you like to phone a friend?
Phone a friend. Let's go with. Man, I don't know. He needs more playing time right there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't gone this far, and there's a lot of names that look like they could be good. A lot of possibilities and people that could, with the right time. But I don't see anybody jumping out at me, guys. Honestly.
Who you got ranked right here, Santino?
For the Blazers, they could use a guy who can play either forward spot. I would take OG right here.
That's what I had, OG.
He wasn't taken already?
No.
I swear we talked about him.
No, actually, we're on the Hawks. But yeah, same thing.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, because I had OG put it. I had OG at 18 on my list, but past that, I didn't have anybody else. So, I mean, I guess it would be OG. I thought he was already taken. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
OG, and I think that OG. Let's talk about him for a minute. In Toronto, with what's his name? I can't remember because he went to the Clippers. What's his name? Come on, guys, you know it.
What I don't know what's his.
The guy that went to the Clippers, Toronto. I can't say his name because he's on the Clippers. So, and I'm a Laker fan. So, Kawhi Leonard. Come on, guys.
It's like, who's he talking about?
The other team in LA.
Right.
The other team that's actually hopefully moving out of LA here soon. But honestly, though, I think that he's going to have a great opportunity now. You've got some really good players in Toronto that I think are going to be gone. Freddie VanVleet, we talked about him when we did our draft last time. I think he's going to actually be gone. I don't think that Fred VanVleet's going to stick around. They can't afford to pay him and Kyle Lowry. So I think OG Anunoby is going to have a good opportunity to come in there and do well. He just needs that time. He needs more time on the court. He's got a good all-around game. I think he's got that scoring mentality as well, so he'll fill in well with them.
Just got to be more consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it. He just needs to have more time out there. Whenever Kawhi Leonard was there, he soaked up a lot of time. But you also got Norman Powell that's there, and I think Norman Powell and OG Anunoby are really kind of fighting for the same spot and the same playing time. When Fred VanVleet goes out, I think that it's going to open up one of those slots for those guys for sure.
All right.
Number 20, Sacramento.
We could, if you want, we could do this. Could be the last round, or we could go one more. But number 20 pick, Blazers. I mean, they took him a lot earlier in the draft. I guess they could just retake him and retake Zach Collins here.
Whoa. Zach Collins?
He's not a terrible guy. I think he would have had a pretty good year if he was healthy, but I mean, there's not the greatest.
Okay, I got a debate for you. Zach Collins, or didn't they take Harry Giles right here?
No, Sacramento has Harry Giles now.
Yeah. We're on the 20th pick. Didn't Sacramento?
They took Sacramento took Zach Collins and they
traded him.
Funny, those two actually they were involved in a trade.
Who you think is better? I like Harry Giles better than Zach Collins.
I haven't seen enough of Harry Giles though. We haven't really seen enough of Zach Collins.
Yeah.
I think Zach Collins' game is better for this modern NBA. He could stretch the floor. He could protect the paint. Harry Giles, I think he was starting to come into his own a little bit, but there is a lot of unknown. It's hard to play big men like him who can't shoot past 4 feet. I mean, he's very athletic, but there's a lot of people especially on the Kings right now that play his position. Like Rashawn Holmes plays his position.
Yeah, he should be their starter through and through for sure.
Yeah.
Well, same for Collins though.
I mean, he would have he was starting before he got hurt. That's why they had to bring in Melo and everybody.
Well, Yusuf Nurkic, he's not playing right now because he's injured.
Yeah.
You got Whiteside that's there that plays a big man spot, big man role. Yeah, Zach Collins. I think if I had to pick the two of them, I would say Zach Collins over Harry Giles too. Harry Giles, he needs some time. He should have stayed in college another year, I think, at least, in my opinion. But Will, you seem to like him though. So
Yeah, I mean, when he was at Duke, he was like looked at to be, better than Brandon Ingram and all those guys. He just got hurt really, really bad. So he's been recovering from that. And this year, I think he finally was flashing his potential. I think he can be like a 16-8 guy. I see Zach Collins as a good defensive player, maybe 8-8 guy. Just so potential. I would go with Harry Giles.
Okay.
I like the potential of another guy on this list more than both, but I don't know how he would fit with the Blazers, with two guys who already score a lot.
And that is?
Oh, Josh Jackson. I think he rebounded his game a little bit in the G League. I think he oodles with the potential and a scoring potential, but on a team with Lillard and McCollum, you don't need another guy who wants to take 20 shots a game.
Well, with Josh Jackson, I'm looking at the off-court stuff, though. I mean, you gotta have the full package when you get to the NBA. I mean, he's had some off-court stuff. While he was in the NBA, he has had some off-court issues. But
this year, he kind of rehabbed everything.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And I agree with that.
Hopefully it continues, because if he can stay right up here and off the court, I think another guy is yet to come from him. But we'll see if he can. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yes.
So if you guys want, we can wrap it up here. Will.
Well, I get the last pick. The last pick. I'm third. So this will be OKC's pick. And I mean, I'm just gonna name both of these guys because I like them. So
you get one.
No, you pick two. You pick Josh Jackson and Zach Collins.
Who wrote Josh Jackson?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna draft. I have to take my guy Dennis Smith Jr. Like, his first few years in the league showed his potential. I don't know what happened this year. I have no clue. But I mean, I think he has potential to be like the better than Lonzo Ball, third or fourth best point guard in this draft. Dennis Smith Jr. Y'all. I love Dennis Smith Jr.
All right, hoop ball fans, it's obvious I'm the only sane one here. So
NC State alum, Dennis Smith Jr. Great talent.
He's not even playing over Frank Ntilikina.
Listen, he must have had a motorcycle accident like Markel Fultz or something. He'll be back next year.
Okay. But I'll just leave it at good pick.
Harry Giles.
Let's talk about the state of the NBA though for a minute. Let's talk about that. So they had talked about everybody being allowed to practice in the practice facilities, and then they backed that up. The NBA backed it up a little bit. So there are states that are going to be opening up here and there due to the coronavirus and the COVID-19. And the NBA came out and said that they were going to allow some teams to practice in the practice facility, but every team had to establish basically a cleaning czar for the facilities, right? And then I heard on the ESPN, I saw that they came out and they kind of backed that out and said, hold on, we're going to wait a little bit on that.
Players Union.
So, the Players Union said, no, we don't like that idea. We like to get paid for doing nothing. And so we're going to, sit at home. And they didn't really take away much of their pay, which the NBA has the ability to do. They took away a little bit of their pay starting, I think, the May 1st or May 15th check that they're getting. But the NBA could have taken away a lot more pay than that. So what is your guys' thought on that as far as, if those states are opening up, should the NBA let these guys go back to playing? Should the Players Union allow it?
I think I know I saw something on Steve Kerr. He said they're already in off-season mode. They really don't want to play again, which makes it 15 and 50, I think.
Well, look, it's Golden State. They didn't want to play when the season was going on.
They didn't want to play when the season went on.
Yeah, you can't count Golden State this year.
No.
But I don't. It's very hard. It's a tough call. I don't know if they should open this up as quickly as they are. I know states are trying to. I just don't want to see it go backwards.
Right.
But I mean, eventually, I think they're gonna try as best as they could to finish the season out. They got this far; they have to. But I don't know. It's very tough. It's just I've never been in a situation like this before. We'll see what happens, but I think they're gonna try and get it by the end of the summer if they could, maybe the fall. Yeah, I don't know. Will, what do you got? That's all I got.
Well, it seems like everything we'll see. Like May is going to be a big month for this virus and seeing how it spreads. And I think if it stays pretty contained, it'll be a chance that it opens up. If not, if they're going to keep the social distancing, the only way they can do it is they keep the players contained somewhere. And I saw a few hours ago they were saying something like the NBA is trying to work it out to where they can play games in Disney World. So, like all the players are just going to stay there, finish the season. I guess they have courts there or whatever. I mean, we want sports, so if they can do that.
Yeah, Florida was one of the first states to open up, and you have two pro teams there. You got the Magic and you got the Heat, but then also I know because I lived in Tampa that Tampa has an arena there as well that the Tampa Bay Lightning play out of, and they hosted the Final Four of the NCAA tournament a few years back because I went. It was great. Kentucky played. Look at there. And but they have a basketball court there that they can use. So really, that's at least 3 courts that I know of that are NBA ready courts that they can play in Florida. Yeah. I think it would be a great idea. Of course, all of the players love being at Disney down there. The state I'm in Kentucky, we have a leader that is holding off everything until May 12th to open up. And he's opened up slowly, a little bit at a time. So all states are going to be different. Not all states are going to be open, have the teams and so on and so forth. So it went from playing in Vegas, a tournament, to playing down in Florida. So, I mean, as long as we play, I think everybody will be happy with it. We just got to do it right. So,
yeah. Daniel Peterson made a comment, don't think the owners are aligned, which is why they announced something, then come back. Like you said, owners aren't going to align. League not going to happen, in my opinion, no season. I mean, I'm kind of close to that.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard if they come back. They can't go straight to the playoffs. It's too many injury concerns that way. Players are not going to want to do that. And if they don't go to the playoffs, that means they're going to have to bring back every team. And the Warriors already came out and said they don't want to play. They're in off-season mode. I can't imagine most of the other teams. Like, I don't think the Wolves are going to play. I don't see Karl Anthony Towns wanting to play basketball right now.
Yeah, definitely for him.
Like that. Other teams that have absolutely no chance to make the playoffs, don't really see them coming out. Maybe the young kids on each team, like the Hawks wouldn't want to play, but Trae Young, I know, is chomping at the bit. But it's going to be hard to get all of these teams out there. We'll see what happens. I think they're doing their due diligence. So if the time comes and the opportunity comes, they'll be ready for it. But it's going to be very hard for them to pick back up, which is unfortunate.
I know Steve Kerr said that, but these players, they don't have anything better to do right now. So I mean, you may say, "Oh, we're in off-season mode, we don't want to play," but I mean, these players are like, trying to do anything to kill time right now. So I mean, when the doors open up, they're going to at least play basketball. So I think they could.
They do need to make a decision sooner rather than later. For everybody's sake. A lot of people are affected here before.
I heard baseball talking about they're going to open up. So, I mean, if baseball opens up, I don't see how the NBA can't open up. They mentioned no fans in the stands, but they're going to open up. So
I think basketball has a better shot than a baseball because they already had most of their season. So, I mean, they want to play. I feel like they would want to finish up and get a championship round more than a baseball would who hasn't started yet. And if they had to have a lost season, I mean, it is what it is, but you're not going through 85% of the season and then cutting it off.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to a point to where, and I don't even know what the collective bargaining agreement says about a situation where who would be crowned a champion, would it be based. I don't think they can. And if they did, it would be an asterisk. And like we talked about before, no team wants to win a championship with an asterisk next to it. So they need to make a decision sooner rather than later because it affects way too many people. I'm at the point now to where we're so far into it, we're about to hit May, and they keep postponing things. We can't even start practicing and stuff. I say call the season. Unfortunately,
no.
Yeah,
we got time.
No, I don't think that you're going to have an opportunity. I think if we catch it now and close the season now, then we might be able to start next season off when it's supposed to start off. You know,
But a lot of people are saying the NBA season needs to be changed anyway, starting maybe at Christmas, maybe at New Year's anyway. So this would be a way to test that. So it could work out either way.
Yeah. Well, they need to make a decision, something.
Yeah. I think May is going to be the deciding factor. So next few weeks, we're gonna probably have a decision.
It's gonna be May.
All right. So before we head out, I wanted to throw in. I got a bunch of players left that made them, or that you probably know. People would know out there that played in NBA games and made some impact so far. Just run down a quick list. There's probably a 30, but I'll cut it off shorter. We mentioned Harry Giles, Josh.
You only need to name about 5 of them.
Frank Ntilikina, Terrence Ferguson. These are all role players and players that are starting. A guy I really liked. I actually had in my top 20 if he wasn't behind Gobert, Tony Bradley. I think he's a pretty good player. Sumner, Damian Dotson. For every Hornet fan out there, Dwayne Bacon was drafted in this.
He was. I wasn't going to name him either.
We got Frank Jackson, Frank Mason, Isaiah Hartenstein. Who else? Justin.
I like Hartenstein.
Team Allen, DJ Wilson. These some good people out there. Sterling Brown, Justin Patton, Bolden, Swanigan, and then a couple undrafted guys that were played some big roles this year, like the Booch Man, Chris Boucher, Luke Cornett. We've heard of Emil Jefferson, Isaiah Briscoe. It's a little deeper than these aren't great names, but it's a little deeper. And one name that I just want to shout out because it's probably the best name for a basketball player. He never played in the NBA, but Malik Dime from Washington.
That's a really good name.
That's
Is he a point guard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dropping dimes.
But that's
he has to be a point guard.
Basketball name.
Yeah.
Did you mention Jordan Bell? Jordan Bell was also drafted.
Jordan Bell.
I tried to leave talented players on the list. A Wundu was in there. Ivan Rabb. The guy from Washington, I can't really say his name. I'll butcher it. Pazikniks. Anybody can say that?
Oh
right?
yeah. He had a good year this year.
Semi Ajulier. A guy I think might have some potential. Victor Kankar on the Nuggets, but he's just buried.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people out there.
This was a really amazing draft.
Walton Jr. on the Clippers, he went undrafted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a pretty good draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll say thank you to all the people that watched and left comments tonight. We appreciate you guys sticking with the hoop ball during this season. It's hiatus. So thanks for coming on here, guys, leaving comments. Make sure you guys tell your friends about it. Come on and get some NBA advice and then chat with us. So
let us know if there's another year you want us to recap and redraft.
Not you, but probably us.
I had the best draft, people.
Just kidding.
Hey, we could go ahead and jump to next year's draft so Santino can pick LaMelo Ball since he's
No, I don't like that. I just like Lonzo. I think Lonzo's the best of the balls.
Okay.
The only balls that the only ball I want of the balls. But what Doug said and Will said. Thank you guys for joining. Great time. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun as well.
Absolutely,
And,
always.
Loved it.
That does it for another edition of Fantasy NBA Tonight. We did the 2017 draft tonight. I'm not sure what draft we'll bring to you next week, but we'll bring one.
Stay tuned.
Right. All right, guys. Cheers. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe, everyone.